Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis Legacy. Sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Rhode Island State Senator Tiana Mack caused a firestorm of controversy when she posted a video on TikTok of her twerking upside down in a thong bikini. Now, your Tiana Mack created this video on TikTok as part of her re-election campaign to canvass for votes. But when I take a critical examination of the behavior of a Tiana Mack, it fits right in line in the pattern and profile for dysfunctional females that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. And it's clear to me that your Tiana Mack is a woman in crisis because she is stuck in a state of arrested development. Now, in the chapter, The Arrested Development of the American Female, I talk about how many of America's women are stuck at a mental age of about 16 to 19 years old. And this is done by design by the Madison Avenue in Hollywood and those in the state because they want to keep women at a mental age where she's a teenager because they don't want her to mature to womanhood. Now, they don't want the woman to mature to womanhood because they know that if a woman matures to womanhood, her primary focus is going to be on her husband, taking care of the family, and taking care of the children. They want the woman to remain at a mental age of about 16 to 19 years old because they can make lots of money off of that woman by having her continue to participate in extremely impulsive behavior like going out shopping and going out here and participating in things like the hot girl summers and other really racy behaviors. They want to keep the America's women in a state of arrested development where they are perpetual teenagers, and as these perpetual teenagers grow up and get their educations and go to have their careers, they still continue to act like children. And that's where your Tiana Mack's behavior comes in, because her behavior is just like that of an impulsive 16 to 19-year-old who is used to going to places like spring break, shaking her booty, and having a good time at a place like spring break. Unfortunately, because this woman has not matured to womanhood, she's still participating in these behaviors and in her older age, and even when she gets a prominent position like state senator, she's still acting like a child. And that's really embarrassing optically for a grown woman, because a grown woman is supposed to understand that there's a time to put away these kinds of behaviors and act more maturely, because a grown woman is supposed to understand that her behavior reflects on society, and when she's out here, she needs to behave in a way that reflects positively on society, especially if she's holding a prominent position like that of a state senator. A state senator is supposed to be a representative of the people in a particular state, and her image is supposed to reflect positively on the people, and her image is supposed to be something that inspires and influences others to go out here and improve the quality of their lives. But there was nothing positive about the behavior of a Tiana Mack. No, your Tiana Mack, a grown woman, is not reflecting positively on her community or her constituents by going out here, putting on a thong bikini, and then twerking upside down. No, what your Tiana Mack is showing the world is that she is extremely immature, that her development is arrested to the point where she's still acting like an adolescent, acting impulsively without ever thinking about the consequences of her actions or ever thinking critically about how her behavior reflects on the people all around her. Now, you would think again that this would be a lesson that her parents would teach her, and maybe they possibly did, but when I look at American society, we have not done a good job of preparing our girls to become women who are mature. And the main reason why we haven't done that is because mainstream corporate America, Madison Avenue, and Hollywood don't want our women to grow up. No, they want them to grow old, but they don't want them to grow up. And they don't want America's women to grow up to a level of maturity because they know that once a woman grows up to a level of maturity, she's not going to be out here acting impulsively like your Tiana Mack is what did in that video. No, they know that when a girl grows up to become a woman, she starts to dress more modestly, she starts to act more respectably, and she's more focused on things as related to the family, and she's more focused on taking care of her husband and her children. And because your Madison Avenue in Hollywood don't want us to see women grow to maturity, what they want to do is keep America's women in a state of arrested development. And as those women remain in a state of arrested development, they go out here, they're getting their educations, they're getting their careers, they're getting their big time jobs. But the sad part is that even though they're getting all of these career accomplishments, they're still acting like they're 16 to 19 years old. They're still acting like they did in college. They're still acting like they do on spring break. And they're not thinking about how their behaviors are going to reflect on the society that they're supposed to represent. Now, a woman, once she gets a certain age, is supposed to put off the things of her childhood the same way a boy is supposed to put off the things of his childhood once he becomes a man. Once a woman reaches a certain age, she has to realize that she is responsible for other people, and how she behaves reflects on those other people. And that's something your Tiana Mack has not really learned, and really does not give anybody, as I see in Rhode Island, in her district, any incentive to go out here and vote for her as a state senator. I don't see how anybody can go out here and want to hire this woman to represent them in a political office if she cannot understand that there is a way for a woman to carry and conduct herself once she reaches a certain age and once she goes out here and receives a certain position. Because once you receive a position like a state senator, you want to take that position seriously because you are the representative of those people, and you want to behave in a way that reflects positively on those people by showing them a respectable image. Because when you go out here and you're wearing a thong bikini and twerking upside down and you're showing this to the world, you are reflecting a negative image of your district, and you're embarrassing the very same people you say you want to represent. That's what your Tiana Mack doesn't understand about having that position that she got elected to. She is supposed to be a positive reflection of the people, but instead of her looking to be that positive reflection of the people and representing their image, she decides to go out here and still act like an immature teenager. Now, some people will say, oh, this person is doing this and it's their right to have their life. But no, when you decide to become a representative of the people and their image, you are supposed to make a sacrifice for those people because you understand that there is something more important than your personal life. As their representative, it is your job to reflect positively on the people, and it is your job to take responsibility for your image because you are the image of the people. So that argument as related to, oh, she has the right to her personal life, well, if you're out here and you're a public person, you just sacrifice your personal life because you want to maintain a professional image when you represent the people. And as for a campaign, this is not a positive thing for your campaign because this is not how you go out here and generate votes. No, any politician understands that this is not a way to generate votes. this is a way to alienate voters, because when voters see a 28-year-old young woman going out here in a thong bikini, in a handstand twerking, that's not a reason to vote for them, because this person lacks the mental maturity to make good decisions. And if she can't make good decisions as related to her personal life, then she cannot be trusted to make good decisions as related to public policy. So optically, this looks very bad for your Tiana Mack. I mean, this is something that I believe could cost her votes, because you're not acting in a professional manner, you're not acting maturely, and it basically proves a lot of stereotypes that racists have about black women. I mean, basically, this whole image that Tiana Mack has presented basically shows the world that the racist stereotypes that your black woman doesn't know how to be a woman, does not know how to carry and conduct herself, and actually proves a point that the late great David Carroll made about the corporate American hood rat in one of his classic rabbit hole videos. Now, your David Carroll in his classic rabbit hole videos talked about this corporate American hood rat, this woman who was highly educated and had all of these degrees, but didn't have any sort of demeanor or decorum. And this is the example that Tiana Mack is presenting to the world in that TikTok video, showing us that yes, she's an independent professional black woman, but she's still ghetto to the core. And that's what you see here presented on display by this woman showing us her backside. Now, this also proves another point that the late great David Carroll made as related to your Hottentot Venus, and that's basically what this Tiana Mack is showing everybody, that she's another one of these modern day Hottentot Venuses who all she can show you is her backside, because she has no real substance to her. So the only thing that she has to offer her voters and constituents is her backside, and that's what she's trying to get your attention with, because she has no sort of polish, no sort of substance, and no sense of decorum. Because anybody who goes out here and gets a position of power needs to understand that you don't go out here and carry yourself a certain way. No, when you're out here and you have a position like a state senator, you're not out here partying in the streets like Eric Adams is doing. You're not out here twerking like a Tiana Mack. No, you take your position seriously, and you go out here and you carry and you conduct yourself with respect, with dignity and decorum, because you want to reflect an image of power. You want to reflect an image that you are capable of leading. You want to reflect a position of competence. And that's not something I'm seeing with this latest group of black politicians. I'm not seeing anybody taking their position seriously. No, when I see people like your Eric Adams and your Tiana Macks, they are not showing me that they take the position that they were given seriously. No, they prove the point that was presented in the movie Birth of a Nation, where they talked about how when you give a black person power, they are going to abuse the power that they are given. They're going to be irresponsible, they're going to be immature, and they're not going to be able to lead anything, and they're just going to drive things into chaos. That's what we see here as related to this twerking video from Tiana Mack. We see a woman who is basically proving the points of white racists like those who created the movie Birth of a Nation, when they said that if you give black people power, this is the way they're going to behave, by being ignorant, by acting a fool, and by not taking the office that they have seriously, by understanding that when you are in office, you are on duty basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and your image reflects on the entire community. That's a point I make in my book, The Temptation of John Haynes, where the John Haynes character becomes the CEO of Morris Phillips, and he understands that an executive who is out here, they represent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, their office, and that's why they have to watch how they conduct themselves in their office. Unfortunately, because your Tiana Mack, is an extremely immature woman and is still stuck in the mind of a teenager, she has the power, but she doesn't understand the maturity that's needed for taking responsibility for her position. So that's why she's out here acting extremely immature. I mean, any politician understands, look, I'm not going to go to the beach in a thong bikini because that reflects negatively on me as a woman who is in office. No, if I'm going to go out here and put on a bikini, it's going to be in my private residence, not on a public beach, and then go out here and twerk upside down, because that's not how a person who runs for political office presents themselves. But sadly, because we have 2 to 3 generations of women in crisis, and these women are not raised to understand that being a woman is different from being a girl, we have women like this who are just, again, stuck in a mental state of arrested development, still trying to be teenagers, not understanding that when you become a certain age, you put off the attire of a girl and the behaviors of girls, and you go out here and you act like a woman. And that's why our women are in crisis, because we had girls who grew up to become feminists and not women, and as these girls grew up to become feminists and not women, they wound up staying in that state of immaturity, talking about how they're empowered, not understanding with great power comes great responsibility, and sadly many of them are not ready to take on those responsibilities of being a woman. And this woman is showing us that she is not ready for womanhood, and if she's not ready for womanhood, then maybe she's just not ready for another term as Rhode Island State Senator. Now, my book, The Woman Crisis, will be available this fall, and if you want to learn more about why women are so messed up here in America, you can pick up The Woman Crisis when it comes out this fall. But until then, you can learn more about the dysfunctional behavior of beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis, and in that book you can learn why so many men are falling completely apart in The Man Crisis. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers everywhere, East-themed horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewoman in this action-packed, all-new East-themed series adventure. Pre-order your copy of East-themed horror of the Hyena Woman on Amazon.com today.